Hey, Allie, we're here and we're recording.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
Everybody, welcome to SheKings podcast for peasants who don't want to live shitty lives.
Yep, second edition. And we have been warming up for the last hour. Because we couldn't figure out how to make our new headsets and microphones work. So it's been an hour.
Yeah,
So we
this
are
is
warmed up and we're ready to go.
this is something that you guys should know about SheKings. We are not technologically savvy. So you're welcome. Okay, this is how committed we are to getting this out there.
I did tell
So,
Erica if she pushes the record button and all of a sudden all the sound goes off again, I'll talk to her tomorrow or maybe Monday. I don't know.
but we're fighting
And
the good fight. It appears that we're still recording. So
wonderful.
yes, today, well, actually, for our first episode, we spent some time talking to you guys about labels. Allie, can you talk a little bit about labels so we can just set everybody up for what we're going to be talking about today? And for those of you who didn't hear that first episode, definitely go back and listen to episode 1 of SheKings.
Absolutely. So labels run our lives. Labels are everything from the very minute that we're conceived, right? So we're an embryo, right? So everything has a label and a title. We're a baby. We're this. We're preteen. We're teens. So we have labels, and then we have labels within school structures and within our communities, within religion. All of these things are labels. So the crazy thing about labels is the minute that you buy into it, then it kind of keeps you stuck in a box.
Yeah,
And we don't
absolutely.
have to get too much into quantum physics, but morphic fields. Everything has a morphic field. And the minute that you buy into that morphic field, you're playing by those rules, those laws within that morphic field. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I'll just state that because Allie is like really advanced and I'm a very simple girl. What Allie is getting into is what we want to talk to you about today. Why does it matter? Why do these labels matter? And this idea of being governed by a morphic field is, simply put, if I say that I am a straight A student, then I am tied to that. So what happens when I get a B? How how does
It's
that shit?
over.
And it's over. And it's so funny because I actually think back to a time I was in, I want to say like maybe 5th grade, and I was a straight A student. And what my teacher would do is she would have us line up by the door. All of you people who are older, like Allie and me, it's time to flash back to those days. But we would line up by the door, and she would give us our grades on our way out of the door. And so you would just walk up and she would show you, this is back before computers were a big thing. She would show you on a piece of paper. She'd have, a piece of paper that would, show you the line of grades across. Like, this is Erica's line of grades. And you could just zero in on that last grade. And I had gotten a B one day, and I felt my entire world crumble. And I got really sad and tearful. And I just stepped into the coat room, which was right by the door, so that I could cry, and nobody would see me cry. And I could hear outside the other students asking the teacher, like, what happened? And she was so thrown off by it that she told them, she said, she got a B. And they were like, what? What the fuck? Fucking stupid. Like, they were so mad. They were so mad.
Yeah, because all those
young,
other students were me, because they're like a B, because I'm like scraping by C's and D's. I'm like, yes, yes,
like,
I did it.
exactly. And that's the funny thing about these labels. Like, when you buy into that, right, it becomes such a big deal. And not to anybody else. It's not objective. There's no objective way of being. But once you buy into a label, that becomes your objective way of being. I am a mom who only, who doesn't use jar food for my baby, right? Like I have to cook everything and it has to be blended perfectly. And then I hear my mom friends, which is supposed to be, this is supposed to be something beautiful and wonderful for their child, but now it's become this like pain in their life, this like overwhelm that they experience because today their baby had to, I don't know, not eat the exact perfect thing.
Right.
We get so caught up in labels.
Right. The labels and then the actions that go behind the labels to support the label is what we all get consumed over. And labels in general are just draining, absolutely draining. Because when we finished our teacher training in India, and I was like, I'm a yoga teacher now. So in my head, yoga teachers were vegetarian or vegan, right? That they talked a certain way, they carried themselves a certain way, and so I started to create that, right? And then
Did it
that
work
just
out?
started to fall apart. And understanding that I was a police officer at the same time,
Oh.
so trying to combine those two worlds. And so
Uh-huh.
then I started like when people would meet me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're a police officer." But that was a label, but I didn't fit that label because they had an idea of what that label looked like or felt like. So it's not just what the story that you attach to the label, but then it's also all the energy from other people that look at that label and title and say, that doesn't match, or they fight against it because you're not fitting in their idea of what that should look like. So you're a new mom. And so just that whole back and forth, and I don't know if it's still a big deal now, but stay home moms versus working moms and breastfeeding moms versus, formula moms. Like,
Absolutely.
and there's actually this, I'll try to find it and send it to you, but this funny YouTube video about that where these two like they're literally at the park and
Oh, I saw
it's like
that.
a rap song and they're going off on each other. And I was like, oh my goodness, we're just adding layers to these labels and these titles and just so much shit to live up to. It's seriously overwhelming. It's
And
so overwhelming.
and that's what it is. It's this idea that once you have the label that all of a sudden you have to live up to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think if there are any other sort of super clear examples of that. I think you touched on a lot of the big ones. So whether it's like how you are defined with your career,
Wow.
how you're defined in your family unit, once you sort of take that on, um, the
Right.
limitation is sure to follow.
It totally is. And if you look at it on a deeper level as far as age, right? So society says when you hit 35, then your bone density starts to go down, right? And so it's just these beliefs now. So now I'm this age. So now I have to start looking into this type of care for my body or whatever it is. Again, that's all labels. And every single label is a belief. That's it. And the story that goes with the label is just a belief. That's it. And if you feel overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel worried, if you feel less than, if you feel like you are trying to survive or keep up with, then those feelings are there to tell you that that belief, that label is not for you.
So once you realize that things aren't feeling good in your body and that every time you associate with that label, you feel pretty bad, how do you shift out of that? How do you, because a lot of these labels are, I'm a mom,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? I'm a mom. Like, so what? I'm not a mom anymore. Like, what do you want me? What do you want me to
No.
do with these kids? And like, I'm one of those people who, I'm a new mom, and I don't identify as a mother. I
Yeah.
don't. Right, and that gives me a great deal of freedom to honestly love that little person
Mm-hmm.
with no drama, with no expectations of what she needs to do to make me happy. With no heaviness of, well, now I have to do this because I'm a mom. So a lot of people, said to me, well, as soon as you have this baby, you're going to have to stop traveling the way you do. And I said,
Probably not. Watch me. Because she's about to get her passport and we're out of here.
exactly. And that baby had her passport before she was 6 months old. I said, it's go
Yes.
time, kid. Okay. We're packing it up. And we have taken multiple trips. We're planning for another trip. One of the trips was 2 months. But if I had bought into that label of I'm a mom and this is what mommyhood looks like, then I would have been so weighed down because that was not my way of living. But I use that example because it's one that most people wouldn't be able to wrap their mind around.
Mm-hmm.
But I still come back to the question, how I did it is how I did it, right? This has been a process for me over years of just putting down labels, even as I was pregnant and giving birth and bringing home a child. Allie, how do people recognize that the labels are weighing them down? You kind of already explained that, but give us a little bit more. And then how do they shift out of identification with those labels?
So yeah, when it doesn't feel good. So I always tell my clients that any low vibrating frequency is your body's way of saying to get your attention. It's a red flag, and it's saying for you to stop it. You're believing a lie, right? So if you are overwhelmed because of a label, if you are stressed, if you are feeling less than, unworthy, whatever it is, then that's your body's way of saying stop it. It's low vibrating frequencies. Emotions are the same as natural gas. Natural gas smells the way that it does to get your attention. You left something on, call 911, get out of the house. It's exactly the same. It's if it doesn't feel good in your body, it's a red flag. It's telling you to do something different. And so when you look at the label that you're doing, that you created for yourself, and you're attaching all this stuff to it. Okay, in order to be a good mom, I have to be a part of the PTA. I have to bring snacks after soccer. I have to, oh my gosh, I'm getting like PTSD just saying this. Like, oh my, I'm starting to stress. I'm going to start tapping. Give me a minute, let me breathe. Oh my goodness. All my kids are grown and now I have grandbabies. So yeah, I'm just like, whoo. So now we keep going down the list. Oh, I have to do homework. I have to help with homework, right? So when you start to create all these things that you must do and it's starting to create overwhelm, that is your body way of saying, let some of those go. So what I tell people is pick two things that you absolutely, that you want to be a part of, not that your kid wants you to be a part of, that you think that you should be a part of to be a mom or a parent or any type of role for that matter. And then when you're down to the two, if any one of those two stresses you out, then pick one. And if it's literally showing up for this week, I'm making it to one soccer game, right? Awesome. Then show up, drop the PTA.
Let me tell you something. this week, I'm gonna make sure this kid has clean clothes. You're welcome. This week, there will be food in the refrigerator.
Absolutely.
Live your best life, child.
Yes.
Take it and go.
And this is why, then that's why, because when you say, oh my God, I feel so good, to sticking with this label and doing the actions that support that label, then that's when everybody around you benefits. I don't care if you are mom of the year, employee of the year, business owner of the year. It doesn't matter. If you are stressed and overwhelmed, then you are messing up yourself. You are literally doing yourself a disservice, even though society looks at you and says, oh my gosh, she's such an amazing mom. If you at any time are kicking out frequencies of overwhelm and stress, then know that that is going to be what you're fighting against, because that's what you're calling back into your life. So actions mean nothing.
Oh my
Actions mean
gosh.
nothing.
Allie,
Yeah.
this is such a big deal because I think that a big part of the reason that people get caught up in a lot of the labels is because they're good at it.
Yep.
Because they're good at it. And there was a story going around in the legal community. I'm an ex-lawyer, and it was about a man who had committed suicide. And so there was an article submitted to, I believe, law.com by the wife of this man. And the title of it, I think, was Big Law Killed My Husband. Big Law is what we call big law firms.
Right.
So she goes into this whole thing about how her husband felt like he needed to, go to work every day and be there for, X number of hours. And then she explained that he was working on a really big case and he felt like he had to give his all to this big case. And that's a cycle that we get on as lawyers. Like, I'm just going to give my all and then I'll give myself a break. And that break usually never comes. And she was talking about how a number of people at his law firm in his group had started to quit. And so he was taking on more and more of
Mm,
the work. And
right.
he felt this immense pressure attached to being not just the lawyer, but a high level lawyer, an amazing lawyer, a good lawyer, to keep this whole thing going. And at some point, she said, it's not lost on me that whenever I said to him, slow down, you don't have to do this. And he's like, yes, I do. Do you know how it would look? The shame, the
Yeah.
shame. There's so much shame in the corporate world. I won't even say corporate America, in the corporate world, the shame that it would bring on him. He wouldn't be able to deal with it. She said, it's not lost on me that he still didn't quite deal with it. Huh? He committed suicide.
Yeah.
That seemed um, more appropriate to him than putting down
Yeah.
that label. That's how strong labels can be. That's how
Absolutely.
strong identification can be, that you will check out of this body um, because you can't meet that expectation put on you by that label. It's crazy.
It is so crazy. And it's even more so now. Like, I look at my grandbabies and I'm like, why did you come back? Like, why
Yeah.
are you here?
Yeah.
Because I would never want to go through adolescence, teenage with everything like technology and all that and trying to keep up. Oh my gosh, I have no idea how these little souls are going to cope with this
I
because,
don't know, Allie. I think these
man,
little souls are so advanced, man. They are coming back to, you know, keep the evolution of
yeah.
spirit and humanity going because
Well, if that's not the case, know that I'll be there to back them up at elementary. I'll go off on some elementary kids. It's like, you said what? Like what?
but you
They'll
know
be like,
what?
excuse me.
You know what? I'm realizing that they have to go through it.
They do.
They
I know.
can't
I
protect
know.
them. And we also can't protect ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even as we keep going on this whole process, I called you today to tell you about some stuff that was going on with me. And it's such an evolution. And like, you know, the situation I told you about, it was such a shitty situation, but it was a gift. It was a slap in the face. It was like, Erica, get your shit together. Get
Say
it
like this,
together.
slaps.
But before getting on this spiritual path, I would have just wanted to not have had that situation happen. Now I am, though annoyed with it, working through it, saying this is actually a gift to me. And so these
Absolutely.
labels that we attach to are also actually gifts. It's like it's an invitation once they start to get uncomfortable, like Ali said, for you to wake up and start making different decisions.
Different decisions, different stories, like create your own label. Because literally, if we broke down our day, then we would have 100 of labels, right? I'm washing dishes, so I'm a dishwasher, right?
Mhm.
And I'm so good at being a dishwasher. And then when that's done, I'm doing laundry. And so now I'm I don't even know the
Laundry
name for
doer,
that. Is there a name for that?
a launderer.
Dishwasher. Yes, a launderer. Right. And then I'm driving. So I'm a driver. So all of these labels, I mean, if we literally broke down our day, we'd have millions of them, but it's just so easy to pile it all under one thing. I'm a mom and this is what a mom does, whether it's going to work, you have a career, whatever it does, it doesn't matter. Everything still attaches to that label to create it for you, right? You literally create it. And understand this, the minute that you create a label and you support it, there will be other people around you that support that exact same label, right? So
They have
they'll
to.
want you.
They
Yeah,
have to.
they have to, because you're literally saying, this is who I am. Then the universe says, awesome, let me send all these people who require. So
Yes.
like the story about the attorney, right? I'm a good attorney. I don't want to let people down. Then the universe is like, wonderful. I'm going to give you more cases so that can be true. Like whatever you think about yourself and the label, know that you are supported by the universe, and it shows up with people around you. So if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed and people are coming at you and wanting so much more of your time, know that that is your label. That is what you are asking for. So now it's time for you to switch that out.
And I just
And
want to jump in because
yeah,
it's really important. What you just said is really important. The universe is going to support what you think. So when you get the idea, I wish these people would just get off my back. I wish that they would just leave
mhm,
me alone. You're looking for the outside to change, for everybody to get on board with what you say you want. That's
right.
not what they get on board with. They get on board with who you are, with what
Exactly.
you truly believe. And so they're going to keep reflecting back to you that you have these requirements, you have this way that you're supposed to live until you
Right.
stop doing that. And when you stop doing it, all of a sudden, people are going to stop coming to you with that
Yes.
thing, asking you to do
Exactly.
this thing or to live at this level because it just won't make sense anymore.
Yep. It won't be a frequency match at all. At all.
So
And
nobody tells me what kind of mom I'm supposed to be. No one.
yes.
It just doesn't
Yes.
make sense to talk to me. Whereas I have people who tell me all the time, like, oh, people said this thing to me, and so and so was judging me, and my mother-in-law is looking, side eye, like, why are you doing it? Like, nobody looks at me anyway. And if they are, guess who doesn't notice? Praise the Lord. I don't know what you people want from me. I'm doing my best.
Exactly. And that's a good point too, that you're doing your best. So everything is what it is because we say it is what it is. So we say this is beautiful only, and it's beautiful only because we say it's beautiful. This person is a good mom. We say she's a good mom because she is a good mom because we say she's a good mom. Like, nothing means anything. So for everybody's individual to be, this is who I am today, right? And so I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to let the title of mom go, and I'm just going to be happy and watch how happiness shows up. It'll show up with you interacting with your kids, with you at the grocery store, but the umbrella of the label that is covering this literally can go away, and then now it's replaced with I am just happy. That is my label for today, and that brings on so much more lightness and joy than I am a mom and this is all the shit that I have to get done. So for me, I'm a business owner and this is all the stuff I have to do to run my business. And, but you let that go. And it's just like, today I'm successful. I have no idea what that looks like. I got out of bed and I did yoga this morning.
Winning,
I
winning.
win. And
But
we got this podcast to record. We're
which after an hour,
successful.
after it, success. But I have to say, when I slip into that, into saying more high level, I'm having fun. This
Yeah.
is easy. I
Yeah.
feel free. When I'm in that space, everything lines up, even with my business. And it's a shift that happens just like that, where, I'm getting, email after email after email after email after email and needing to respond here and needing to respond there. And I have a million things going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And then I say, you know what? This gets to be easy.
Yeah.
I have fun. I am free. I'm so free that I'm about to walk away from all those emails just, just for a moment. But Allie, I swear to you, I come back and it's like everything has
Ah,
resolved itself. And everything has resolved itself in the most amazing possible way.
yeah.
But I could have just, burrowed down, head down. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to respond. I'm going to step by step by step by step. When I don't want that to be my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not interesting to me.
And I don't, and I hear it all the time that my job is stressful. I have a very stressful job. I'm
Mhm.
this, I'm that. There is no such thing
Period.
as stress
Period.
or anxiety or overwhelm. It literally is self-induced because we are noticing what is and we want it to be different, or we are visualizing our entire day and all the stuff we have to get going, get done, and then our body responds in a certain way. Everything can be easy. It really, really can. There may be jobs that are physically draining, right? Because you're constantly moving or walking or whatever it is. But as far as the mental state goes, there is no such thing. Everything can be easy. it really can be easy and enjoyable. Even if there's conflict, even if there's challenging moments, it can still be enjoyable, because everything that is sent to you under whatever label you are choosing to say, this is who and what I am, is for your growth and for your benefit. Whether you see it in the moment or you don't, it does not matter. So when you're saying, I check my emails and this is going to be easy, everything's going to be easy. And I'll say this probably every single recording that we do is, this is simple. This is why, is because the universe can only expand and create more of, like, not create more of, but expand from a place of joy and love, right? So that's why you feel so expansive, because you're in that higher frequency. When you are stressed, overwhelmed, angry, fearful, you are fighting up against, and the universe cannot expand in that space. It can just duplicate the same over and over and
Yes.
over again. Yeah.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so picking a label and making sure that it is supported. Well, first of all, picking a label and knowing that you can drop that label at any time. It is not who you are. It's just an experience. And then while you decide to hold on to that label, to create a story around that label, that this is what I do, and let it be high vibration, right? Joy and love and happiness and easy. My friend always uses the word delicious. Let that be delicious, whatever that is.
So I think that ties in pretty well to our homework. You actually, let me just say, so you can choose to, accept a label and choose to rewrite the story and make it more expansive and more beautiful, or you can choose to drop labels altogether.
Yeah.
And in that, there is space to let whatever arises arise. So someone comes to you and you're sitting at your desk and you're typing a legal brief, and they walk in, they say, "Hey, lawyer." You're like, "Oh, am I a lawyer right now? Is that what I'm doing? Okay, yes."
And you're
I
like,
want you to.
no, I am a sexy goddess.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's actually goddess.
Exactly. Maybe you unbutton a button. They come in, throw them off. They're like, "Wait, why did Erica unbutton her button?" Like, why is she giving me boob? Maybe they leave and see, you thought you had to be a lawyer right now, and indeed,
See, everything's constantly changing.
That person's left the room. Left the room. It's totally fine. Don't worry. Don't leave the room. But in that moment, if you have this idea that you're a lawyer, that you're a good lawyer, whatever it is, and they come and they ask you for something, in that moment, without a label, without an idea of whether you're a good lawyer or a bad lawyer or a lawyer at all, you can hear what it is they're asking you, and you can decide from there. There's nothing from the past that ties you to responding to them in any particular way. So you're not a person who's always shows up. You're not a person who always gets the job done. You're not a person that everybody can depend on. You're a person who's in this moment doing whatever it is that you're doing, and they can come in and they can ask for whatever it is they want to ask for, and you can respond from right now.
Yeah,
Label
I love
free.
that.
And so maybe what they say is awesome, and you're like, yeah, give it to me. I want to do that. Maybe what they say makes you want to throw up in your mouth, and you can say, actually, it's a
Or
no
quit
for
your
me.
job.
Exactly. I quit. It's
Out.
I'm out of here. Right? Could be
Yeah.
that. Could be that response. Who knows? But with those things in mind, I want you guys to, did you want to say something, Allie, before I go on to homework?
Well, just being mindful when we give you the homework. The one thing that most people tend to draw to when they drop a label or change a label is fear, because they put so much around the label and how people identify them and how they identify themselves, that it's so fearful to be different. I mean, if I listed all of my labels, all my experiences, they'd be like, this bitch cannot make up her mind what she wants in life. And she's doing what now? I'm just like, oh no, I have to change like every few years.
Yeah.
My husband's just like, I'll be honest with you. We've been together for 16 years and I'm just waiting for it to be my turn for you to change your mind. Because I'm forever like reinventing, like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. And he's just like, I'm thrilled that I'm here with you again this year. Like, you sir,
hold my spot. You're welcome.
That's the longest thing I've ever stuck with in life. Labels can't hold me down, Erica. I refuse.
Right. That's right, Allie. Be free. Be
Thank you.
free. Don't be a peasant.
No fear. I'm a peasant. I'm all of it. God damn it.
But I think that's right. And I can say at various points as labels have fallen away, it has been a scary thing.
Yeah,
It
for
has
sure.
been a scary thing because even right now, the label of playing small is falling away. The label of staying in my circle, my safe circle, is falling away. And there is a pattern response. It's like, my mind is fine. Like, keep going. This is, or should I say, my spirit is fine. Keep going. This is awesome. My mind is like, what are you doing? You don't know these people. What if they don't like what you're doing? It becomes a whole thing. A whole thing. And it's totally normal and it's totally natural that as you start to shift away from labels and into freedom, freedom feels real free, and it can be scary. It's like jumping off a peak, the peak of a mountain, and just flying free. And it can be quite scary.
I agree. While you give them their homework, my computer is about to die, so I'm going to go plug it in real quick. But carry on. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Absolutely. Okay, so guys, I'm going to give you your homework right now, and you can actually go to the notes down below this podcast, and we'll have a link to a handout that you can print out. And so you can do your homework, or you can just do it yourself in any journal or diary you have. So last week we asked you all to just make a list of all your labels. So now you're going to have 3 columns. In that first column, there's going to be a list of your labels. And then in the center column, you're going to just put a few notes about what that means for you right now. What does this label mean to you? How does it play out in your life? What requirements does it put on you? And then in the third column, you're going to allow yourself to close your eyes, to become very present, and ask yourself, what would be different in my life without this label? What would be different for me if I didn't attach my beingness to this label? And you should have an opening there. So if your thing is, I am an amazing lawyer, what attaches to that? What does that mean right now? Second column would be, I show up, on time, ready to work, plenty of energy, even if I don't feel that way. When someone calls and they need all hands on deck, I'm right there. A1 since day one.
Yes.
I'm extremely dependable. Once I put my kids to bed, or once I have dinner out with my friends, or whatever it is, if you get to any of those things, I don't mind turning my computer back on and getting back to work. And so it means all these things. And then you ask yourself, who would I be without this label of amazing lawyer? Like, I would be a little bit more relaxed. I would feel a lot more free, a lot less pressure. And then you get to the point where you say, okay, maybe I can just put that label down. Or maybe I can shift that label to, maybe I'm not an amazing lawyer, but I'm a happy lawyer. I'm a jolly lawyer. I am an honest lawyer.
I'm a kind lawyer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And try those on, see how they feel on you. All right, guys. I think that is it for us on this, our second episode.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. We will see you next week.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in. And next time we'll have it all smoothed out. behind the scenes. Get these microphones up and working from first point. Plug and go.
Yes, 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 yes.
So
Which,
thank you so much for tuning into SheKings, and we are here to support the peasants who do not want to live shitty lives. Let go of those labels, people.
all right, beautiful people.
All right. Bye.
Next week.